G'day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the AGL Zamasu and seeing just how good he is in DBZ Dokkan, and yeah, seeing how good he is at Rainbow and at level 10 links. Now, Zamasu is a Realm of the Gods lead and an extreme type lead. He's pretty good. It's a decent leader skill. Realm of the Gods needed an extreme lead. There's not really enough units to make a solely extreme Realm of the God team though, and in terms of an extreme lead, it's a pretty good coverage. I think they could have made him, at the time they didn't have corroded body and mind, but if they had made that a double lead, it would have been pretty good. Now, he also, in terms of passive, has a pretty interesting one. So he reduces damage by 20% in his base form, and then when he transforms, he actually reduces damage by 40%. Which is pretty clutch and quite important in determining, just how good he is. You also notice my little cheating. He is technically speaking level 10 links, except for the one link in his base form, but don't worry about that. But yeah, Zamasu, he's on a decent number of categories. You've got Future Saga, you've got Realm of the Gods. You've got a pretty decent kind of array of categories there. Potara, etc. But the real kind of benefit of Zamasu, at least at the time, was his damage reduction. He had 20% in his base form, but 40% at the time in his second form was pretty good. And he's a pretty decent damage dealer, I would say, all things considered. Now, obviously, as you transform, or he has a mandatory transformation, that transformation is pretty good. I think a lot of people agreed at the time that Zamasu's second form was actually a very usable form. Very solid, very strong. Now his active skill, his transformation into the merged Zamasu, the corrupted Zamasu, he gets a huge attack buff. But the big issue that it caused at the time, and still does, is the reduction in his defense. And it's kind of understandable, I think, but not really. He went from 40% to 20% damage reduction. And this is pretty crucial because the offensive trade-off is always a risk in Dokkan. You have to get a huge amount of offense to trade off defense. A great example is AGL Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. Although he can still be solid defensively after he transforms from AGL Super Saiyan Gohan into AGL Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, his offensive gain, that nuking ability, that orb changing, that crit, that multiple super attack, is so much worth the defensive trade-off. He goes from like 7-8 million attack stats to like 24, 14, 16 million attack stats with crit chances and multiple supers, and that type of stuff is good across the board. Whereas with Zamasu was kind of a similar thing just back in the day. The question was, do you want to go from like a 2 million attack stat to like a 3 million attack stat? And now with Rainbow level 10 links, he can get to a decent clip. Zamasu can actually get to a pretty decent attack stats actually. In his second form, we're looking at, like 3 million, I believe, he'll hit, which is pretty good. He also has around 110 to 140k defense, depending on the amount of support you provide him, which is also not too bad. He does lose Cold Judgment as he transforms, which is a bit of a negative side effect for his defense. If he had kept Cold Judgment, things might have been a bit better, but ideally he just needs more defensive reduction, or damage reduction I should say, if they are going to keep him, or easy aim at some point. Now beyond that, he looks pretty good. Like I say, he has a very wide spectrum in terms of like teams to a certain extent. Time Travelers, Future Saga, Potara, all these things. But his link set's kind of in that wishy-washy space. He's got things like, Dismal Future, Fused Fighter, and these are not the best links. But he does have some very crucial pieces like Fear and Faith and Big Bad Bosses, and those kind of rescue his whole, team build. Now you can see pretty decent damage, by the way. 3 million. Honestly, not too bad. You can see here, we're going to transform him, And this is obviously best case scenario. You know, he's got a ton of support on this rotation. This is obviously a very, very, very good situation for him. But he's going to hit a pretty nice attack stat. I mean, 5.5 million, considering how old the unit is pretty good. You know, considering, like, all things considered, it's not bad. In terms of build, you do probably just want to build him into crit. He does lower attack and things like that on his super attack. But realistically, you probably just want to build him into, crit. I think when his attack stats can crit, that's kind of when you see the best out of him. And yeah, I think overall, easy A or not in future, I think crit will probably be the best route to go. He will probably also guarantee a crit when he transforms, which would be good. But I do think overall you probably want crit. At least based on his current build right now. It'll allow you to benefit from his monster attack stats in his transform state, and will allow you to benefit from his baseline attacks as well. So yeah, Zamasu is a pretty good unit. Honestly, he's quite impressive. I think he's, considering how old he is, I think he's still a lot of fun. I think he's one of those units with the way he's designed, you can maybe get excited for his easy aim. You know, if they add in a guard, or they just add in another 20% damage reduction with the stats increase, with a little bit of defense or greatly raising defense for a couple turns, you could eventually see him be a very, very solid unit. Units that have damage reduction don't need a huge high level of defense. The fact that he can hit over 100k with his easy A stats, with a little bit of stacking defense, or holding defense over a couple turns, maybe another 20% damage reduction, all of a sudden, he has 60% damage reduction, 200s or 300k defense, and yeah, he looks really good. So it's one of those situations where Zamasu is one of those units where the easy A can really come out and start to look really, really good. And I think that's something you have to respect at the end of the day. So yeah, I personally think Zamasu's a lot of fun. I think he's a great unit. Of course, things could be better. I don't think that's in denial. And he definitely needs an easy A or a top up to be a unit that's going to clutch you out in super difficult situations. It's not enough what he is right now to be a lead unit in the current meta. But he is a lot of fun, and he is a unit that definitely with an easy A, I could see becoming a great unit to use. So in terms of link set, there's not a huge priority. Obviously Big Bad Bosses being the number one priority. After that you can kind of work with whatever. Fear and Faith's a great key link. Dismal Future's a pretty decent key link as well. Fused Fighter's also a solid key link, but you're going to need to obviously kind of link him with a Fused Fighter. You don't have a lot of options. His best linking partners are Int LR merged Zamasu, Strength merged Fusion Zamasu, Tech merged Fusion Zamasu. You're actually better off linking him with Goku Rosés, more so than linking him with Zamasu units, because weirdly enough, like Goku Rosés all have Big Bad Bosses, whereas Zamasu's don't have Big Bad Bosses half the time. And in his base form, Core Judgment's great, but it's gone by like the next turn, and it's not really optional, so there's no point catering to the Zamasu variant of the unit. I think overall, pretty good unit. Excited to see where his easy A lands him. I think he could be one of those units that's either they really throw the full house at and his kit becomes future proof, or they get scared of what he could become and thus reduce him. With easy A stats alone, I think his transform state will probably hit like 7-8 million anyway. So I think you have to look at how good he could be. But yeah, overall pretty fun unit. Like I said, Int Merge Zamasu will probably benefit the most from his future easy A. Hopefully they can get some really good synergy going. I really like him as a unit, so I'm excited to see what happens with him. But yeah, that's basically it. Honestly speaking, I think at the end of the day, he's a really fun unit, and he could become a very necessary piece towards running a Goku Black team. It's just the Realm of the Gods lead is the only real kind of letdown, because I just, outside of Zamasu and Rose, I don't really know any extreme Realm of the Gods units. Maybe DB Heroes will come in there into the mix, and things can get a bit interesting, but usually those units kind of build off each other anyway, so yeah. But yeah, either way, Zamasu, lots of fun, great animations by the way for the time he was made, and yeah, that's basically it. See you guys next time. Bye.